Hi Taurus, welcome to your first half of January 2017 general tarot reading. It's Rena here. I'm going to be picking, I'm going to be picking some cards or doing my typical spread. I'm shuffling the cards right now. I'm also going to be picking a card from the Keepers of the Light Oracle deck. And hopefully I will remember after I put out these cards. As a matter of fact, let me just put out that card right now so I don't forget. Odin. Interesting. I'll just read what it says, and I might read further. Psychic insight. Your third eye is open. See truth for what it is. Follow your intuition. Okay. Put that back here. Odin. I think that's from Norway or something, isn't it? I don't know. Norwegian? Let's see here. And as I said, this is a general reading. Sometimes there are themes that make me think that one area is more active than the other, or at least in this particular reading. But yeah, that reminds me, I have to kind of say something, as I've been saying in all these readings. This reading is intended as a kind of like potential mirroring of your life, or certain aspects of your life, but it's not a substitute for your own action. It is a general reading, but even in a private reading, it's never meant as a substitute for your own, active participation in your life. And, it's a tool, not a crutch. It's not meant to make you think that you have to follow something other than your own heart, as well as using common sense. And that's very important, because I don't want to encourage people to be dependent on outer things for their sense of direction. So anyway, let's see what we got here. The overall theme is the why did I say five? The Eight of Wands. And this can be messages, an exciting message, back and forth. We do have a Mercury retrograde at the beginning of the month. So sometimes these messages can involve matters that are things that are revisited, I feel a definite sense of business in this reading. Capricorn is an earth sign, and that is where the sun is, that, at the beginning of the month. So it's a friendly angle to you. It's a trine to Taurus. And so it can, lead you to feel a sense of well-being, when you have that fellow earth sign energy, because it's the way that you operate in the world, a very practical level. So those messages could be about potential job offers. The number 8 is a number of success and business, worldly success. And you have another 8 in the recent past. This is the 8 of Pentacles, and it relates to like somebody who is training, like an apprenticeship, or I would say even like, maybe even a school type of a setting, or some kind of a certificate that you're training to become something, and you may hear word about getting a job. Maybe you have to travel with this. The Eight of Wands is about hearing news, and maybe it's something that causes you or forces you to have to act at a moment's notice and drop everything and do it. But there's an enthusiasm associated with it, because it is a Wands card. And with the Eight of Pentacles, on the other hand, is like somebody with their nose to the grindstone, really working to perfect their craft. So you can see like the cause and effect, and that causes you to be in that position. The card that comes in during this time is the Emperor. The Emperor can be associated with military and police officers. So the Eight of Pentacles could be being in the police academy, or being in boot camp and finding out, okay, here's your assignment. And I would say especially with the military, because you do have to drop everything, and just like a deployment, you know, they need you. And this could even be something far away. For a Taurus person, this is not necessarily an easy thing to do, even if you want the opportunity, because you are very attached to your surroundings, in the sense that you like to have that constancy. You're not the kind of person that normally likes to move here and there and everywhere, unless you have a lot of Gemini, like Gemini rising, and you have experience with that, maybe in childhood or something, where you had to move. If you were a military brat and you had to move around, you may be a little bit more trained to deal with changes in your environment, but it's not necessarily something you personally embrace. So the higher message is the Fool card. It's saying, don't, just travel. See, that person is on a journey and they have a very small knapsack. Travel light, and the traveling light is actually symbolic of your mental state, your expectations for what it is that you're trying, that you're embarking upon, so that you are not someone who is, too prejudiced about what it is that you're doing, that you will not, accept it. What I mean by that is that Taurus tends to be very set in their ways in terms of like their attitudes. And so if you're trying something new and you already have these preconceived notions, you're not going to give it a chance. And you're going to not have an open mind to accept it, even if it proves enjoyable. The Fool is somebody who is very adventurous and kind of open to the unknown. That's what the 0 represents, is the unknown quantity. And so you have to be willing to kind of be like a child and go into the world with this open heart, and just say, life take me where it will. And if you get assigned somewhere overseas in another kind of foreign country, and you don't know anything about this country, and you're like kind of like nervous, or just it doesn't appeal to you, you may not give it a chance. And that's what the opposite of what the Fool would do. The Fool is like, wow, this is going to be exciting because it's going to be so different from what I'm used to, and embracing the difference. And this is kind of like a similar thing, because this is like the Knight of Wands in a challenged position. The Knight of Wands in the upright position is a little challenging too, because it can be very brave, but it can be very chaotic. I think in the reverse position, it's somebody who is a little bit too timid about a situation. Now, in terms of relationships, these cards, if there's anybody who isn't, that scenario would not play out for them in terms of career, then the Eight of Wands can mean hearing from someone that you really are excited to hear from. Maybe during the Mercury retrograde period, maybe you have been involved with someone who is a fellow Earth sign, and this other person might be in Aries, because the Emperor also relates to Aries. So those two cards, the Eight of Wands and that, could indicate that the person's in Aries. And before, you were involved with either a Taurus, a Virgo, or Capricorn. And the contrast is going to be quite great, because the fire sign individual will kind of light a fire under you and make you feel a little bit more like you're doing something that is totally different, from what you were doing before, who you were with before. Because with an earth sign, everything might be very stable, but it may not be very exciting and energizing. It may be almost like a little bit too predictable to be with a fellow earth sign. The Fool card is associated, I think, with the planet Uranus, which is connected to Aquarius. But I see it as a sign of Aries, because I see Aries as a pioneer, somebody who is like always up for an adventure. So that might be kind of emphasizing Aries out of all the 3 fire signs, versus Leo or Sagittarius. Very interesting. The Knight of Wands is actually connected to Sagittarius, and I associate this with Aries as well. But fire in general because of the Knight. Because of Wands. And the interesting thing about this is that in the challenge position, it could be that you, for some reason, Taurus, maybe you were feeling boredom in a long-term relationship and you strayed, from your partner because there was maybe this fire sign was from your past, and now you realize that this person is really unstable. This Knight of Wands in the challenge position. It can be, the Knight of Wands can also indicate somebody who is a good time Charlie, as I call them. And it's just kind of love them and leave them type of person. And so it could be that you did not realize that. You thought, because you were thinking just in terms of some type of actual committed relationship, and the other person was thinking more of fun and games and not really doing anything serious within the relationship. The advice is the Four of Swords, which is about retreat, going within, but also rest, recuperation from some kind of a challenging situation. Now, there are some cards besides the Knight of Wands in reverse, like the Eight of Wands and the Eight of Pentacles can indicate somebody who's working very hard and maybe who is kind of burnt out in the sense of, if you hear news that is compelling you to kind of take action, that may be very confusing to you if you're not sure what to do. And the Four of Swords is advising you to slow down and to kind of maybe not seek opinions from the outside world. Maybe you just need to kind of reflect for a while on your own and not allow other people's opinions to kind of interfere with knowing your, of tapping into your own intuition. And I go back to the Odin card of psychic insight. I'm going to read that in a minute. But the outcome is the Justice card. So everything will balance itself out and it will be a fair situation. But the thing about it is the Justice card may also indicate that remember when you act that there is cause and effect in the universe. So whatever you do, make sure that you are thinking of other people. Never make a decision just based on your own desires. Realize that everything has consequences. Every choice, And if you are somebody who is mulling over a job offer, the Justice card can indicate that you earned this. Maybe, you're using the unknown as an excuse. Maybe that you have like a really good offer, and yet you're focusing on the fact that it's far away, or it's it would be probably some issue surrounding travel that I think would be the number one sticking point for you. Maybe you don't want to leave your loved ones, and yet you're like afraid that if you don't take this opportunity, you've been working really hard for this, and so it may be kind of bothering you on that level. And the Justice card is saying, this is something that you deserve, so you should totally embrace it and not be afraid, and realize. And the Four of Swords is a time for you to kind of just like really totally renew yourself, so that you can be prepared to make the best decision for your life possible. So obviously, this tells a story of a lot of things happening within a very short period of time. I wouldn't look at it that literally. I would just see if some of this kind of resonates with you, whether it's in your personal life or not. But if, for instance, somebody has, misrepresented themselves, and you thought that they were serious about you, and it turned out they were just like a womanizer type of a person, or a manizer, I don't know if there is such a thing. Just remember that, justice is saying, that the universe has this. Don't worry about it. Don't feel like you were treated unfairly. Okay, and I'm just going to read about Odin and see if there's any further. It was talking about, trusting your insight, and you're being encouraged to look beyond what your physical eyes are showing you. Look within and follow your intuition or psychic visions. You might want to plan ahead this time. It's important to keep your mind and energy focused on the best possible outcome. There will be signs and symbols from the light to tell you that you are on the right path. Be aware of winged beings gracing your path as a wink from Odin and the light keepers to say that they are honoring your work. So if that resonates with you, that was just like a further card. I'm trying to just incorporate these cards and see how they work with my readings. But, okay, Taurus, if you'd like a private reading, just click on the link below. Otherwise, have a great beginning of January, of a whole new year. And by the way, it's a one universal year, so that's a beginning point for a whole new cycle. So, and we do have a certain amount of time for new endeavors after the Mercury retrograde is over on the 8th until about, I think it's like February 6th or so when Jupiter goes retrograde. So take care, you guys. Bye.